Thank you all for joining us at DTF Expo and this session. I just want a quick question. How is the show going for you all so far? And we only have one mic right now, so I'm gonna have to do the annoying pass down, but I think they're on it to get us another one. So how's the show going for you?
It's going great for me. I've met a lot of new people, awesome people, networking, and I'm, just from the people that I talked to yesterday and today, I have learned so much. I'm, going to be able to bring back and implement, and I'm super excited and I'm super pumped to get back so I can just, implement all these new ideas that, I've gotten from this expo.
It has been a lot of fun. Sorry, just seeing obviously my networking friends, and that's in an industry. Other than that, we got to see pretty much everything in Long Beach just like a month ago. So just a little bit more intimate, I think, here, but it's been a lot of fun.
Yeah, I agree with both of them. It's been more than what I expected. There's been a lot, turnout, and it is a lot more intimate than some of the larger shows. So hopefully you guys have found some great new technology or, whatever you've been here looking for and learning a lot.
Yes, definitely learning a lot. I'm going to let you guys introduce yourselves and just give a little bit of a brief background, where you're based and what you offer, and we'll start with you, Jerald.
Hi, everyone. My name is Jerald. I own Merch Studio, which is a small garage-based DTF printing shop in Baytown that's in the Houston area. We've been DTF printing for 3 years, almost 3 years now. We're currently at 2 DTF printers, both from DTF Superstore. We're expanding. We're moving to a shop in the next couple of weeks, going from 2 printers to 4 printers. And so it's been a great journey. It's been, there's a lot of plot twists along the way, but it's been a great, exciting journey.
Kim Johnson, Paisley Joe Designs. I am based out of here in Phoenix from Oklahoma. Just moved here 2 years ago. I am a home-based business. I was Epson beta user on the newest, the F2270. That is a hybrid DTG DTF printer.
And I'm Denise Bayer. I own DB Custom Creations. We've been printing DTF for about 3.5 years. We have 5 4-head commercial printers. I have 2 in crates that I purchased to bring into production eventually, hopefully. We also have 2 of the commercial UV DTF printers. But yeah, it's been, DTF is, it's nothing I predicted. I didn't even know people sold transfers, and I started doing it. People started asking me, we just did it during COVID and, just did it for fun and then posted in the groups. People started asking me, do you sell transfers? So here we are, 3.5 years later, so it's been fun. It's been great.
So I believe that a lot of people are here just kind of making a decision, do I bring DTF in-house? Do I continue just to purchase transfers? I'm curious about your journey of, making that decision to bring DTF in-house and maybe some tips for people here who are deciding the same thing.
So when we bought our first printer, just before then, we actually bought screen printing equipment because we had a store, a t-shirt store, and we needed a way to kind of not mass produce, but produce more efficiently at a higher volume. And so we bought the screen printing equipment. The problem with that was we realized once we had it, like 2 weeks in, we realized that, yeah, we can produce a lot of shirts with this, but we have 150 something designs in the website, and we're not going to be able to, print all of those shirts. And, if we have 150 shirt designs and we print 25 of each one, that's just about the cost of a DTF printer right there. So we were like, instead of going that route, we're just going to get a printer, and, that's been the start of it.
Well, obviously, I did not do DTF until Epson called me and said, would you like to be our beta user for the new F2270? And I said, most definitely. And at that point, it's a hybrid printer. So not only do I do DTG, but I do DTF on the same printer. So I guess I'm kind of the black sheep up here. Because I do a little bit of, I'm on the end product of things, so my customer calls me and I do from start to finish in my shop. I do not do wholesale printing for anyone else, but the DTF has actually been nice, especially on left front chest. You just cannot, you can print a sheet of 40 and stick them over the side and just have a stash of logos to throw on something to come. So honestly, the DTF printer's been perfect for me just because I'm not exclusively DTF. I do a little bit of everything in my shop.
Well, I kind of think I answered it a while ago. Why did I bring it in-house? It's kind of a different for me. I was a full-time realtor and COVID hit, so, things kind of shut down. And, as my business grew, I had to add printers, get larger printers, get faster printers. And so, yeah, it's been good.
Can I add a? And just to go back to that question, should you outsource or bring it in-house? I think the main thing that you have to consider is, number one, what are you going to be using it for? Are you going to be making shirts with it and selling the T-shirts? Do you have enough volume in terms of orders to justify getting a printer and getting a person to either getting a person to run it or spend the time out of your day to run it yourself and manage it and maintain it and all that stuff. So if you have that volume, or even if you don't have like that printing volume for your shirts and you're able to produce prints for other people and you already have customers for that, then I would say, yeah, for sure, as long as you can maximize the use of your printer, go for it. There will be a couple of challenges, especially if you're going with the Chinese printers. They're not the most reliable. So just know that if you bring it in-house with the Chinese printers, there's going to be a lot of troubleshooting. There's going to be a lot of problem solving that you're going to have to do. You might need to take out a circuit board here or change the ink line there and do all of these things. So if you're not comfortable doing that yet and you get a Chinese printer, I guarantee you, at some point, you're going to get comfortable with it, because it's either you learn how to do it or you're going to hire someone and pay them like $2,500, $4,000, whatever it takes to bring a technician in to fix that for you. So I guess those are like a couple of things that you have to consider. Number one, how are you going to maximize the use of your printer if you have it in-house? And number two, do you have the time and the patience and the manpower to keep it running?
Technical ability.
Yeah, technical ability. Thank you.
And you can keep this
Oh,
actually,
there you go.
Mike. Yeah, so Jerald, you're touching on challenges, which of course it's not, just amazing all the time. Can you, and I'll give this all to everyone, if there are other challenges that you've faced, bringing DTF in-house, printing DTF, and maybe the ways that you've overcome them, or even if you haven't, what are you looking for, kind of in the next couple of years to kind of overcome those challenges?
I look at the DTF transfers business from like, it's made up of different parts. There's the printing and making sure that your printing is running part, which is the technical part, but then there's also like the marketing, the logistics, and the sales part of it. So you have to be able to like balance all of that so that you can maximize your printer. And also, especially if there's nobody in your area that's doing DTF, I'm always a proponent of, if you can find a DTF printer in your area that can print for you, go with that, start with that. That way you can spend your time figuring out how to do marketing and sales. The 20% of the tasks that's going to bring you 80% of the results, right? Because if you can outsource all of that printing and not have to worry about it, then, you can, if you were spending 20% of your time marketing, for example, and it's bringing you, say, $5,000 a month, if you can expand that to 60% of your time, then that's also going to, bring up the amount of money that's going in. So I would rather focus on things like that. Now, challenge-wise, when I started on TikTok, as a DTF printer, there weren't that many people doing DTF on TikTok. Now every single swipe is like a new seller, and that's okay. That's a good thing. But that's one of the challenges that we have right now, is because we're probably 80% of our customers are funneled in from our social media. We just recently started focusing on like our local customers. So we maybe have like 20 to 50 customers that are in our area. Everyone else is buying from different parts of the country. So our big challenge right now is, how to stay relevant marketing-wise in social media and how to make our system more efficient. Because if somebody buys from me that's in California, I can ship out today. They order today, I ship out today. It's still going to take 4 to 5 days to get to them, right? So how do I make that more efficient? So I think that's the biggest challenge that we have right now.
Well, I guess I'll be the black sheep again. With me having the Epson F2270, there's not a whole lot of printer issues. I do not have really the clogged heads because the new printer actually pretty much maintains itself. I spend about 3 minutes a week on maintenance with the printer. And again, I can do DTG, and I can turn around and just hit 2 clicks of a button, put a piece of film on, and print DTF. So I would say the only challenges I ever had was finding the right film and the right powder for my DTF. And now once I've got pretty much that dialed in, really don't have any issues.
How did you dial that in, Kim? Was it just a lot of troubleshooting?
A lot of late
working with
nights, cussing, crying, just want to give up, drinking, a lot of wine. Obviously, hey, a little bit of everything, a little bit of cheese. But, it's just different film. And obviously, me being the beta user, I had a lot of companies reach out and say, hey, can I send you some film? Can I send you some powder? Can you try it? Because it is a new ink system with the new printer. So definitely, but each one of those films is different settings within your program. And I mean, you just play with it and just see. But your main thing is if your control, your temperature and your humidity is a huge, huge deal within the printer. And I guess with other printers as well. If you keep your humidity about 40% and your temperature 68, 70, it's just a breeze. And obviously I'm here in Phoenix, so it's a lot drier. So I do have a humidifier that, keeps my temperature about 40% at all times. But it's just, trial and error. And that's the good thing about having that printer is, printing DTG to DTF, just a click of a button again. But you're not wasting a whole roll of film. You just, if it's bad, you just throw that piece of film away and just put on another piece and try it again. But honestly, it's been a lot of fun, so.
Well, I think for us, starting out so early, on, our biggest issue, of course, was dialing in our environment, and we're in Oklahoma, so it's hot and humid and dry in the summer, so we had to, we did a lot of testing, a lot of trial and error, a lot of rolls of film. I mean, we had big trash cans full, but the consistency of the supplies in the beginning, you might, get some film or ink that you think, oh, this is it, and next thing you know, your head's clogged because it's really, the consistency is not the same every time we would get that type of supplies or ink or film or whatever. But that's changed, and now, everybody's kind of stepping up, and the suppliers that I use, have been really good. So it's been consistent. It's, in the beginning it was a nightmare, I'm sure,
Oh, yeah.
Is there anything that you would like to see in the next few years that could maybe eliminate some of those challenges or some of that troubleshooting? I mean, we all know that DTF is so new, it's in its infancy, probably more questions than answers on things, but is there anything you're looking for from manufacturers in the next couple of years?
Well, coming here earlier this morning, because I'm not staying in the hotel. I was walking and I saw one of those white cars that had like the big dome at the top. Yeah, and we thought it was a Google Maps thing, and then I got close. I was like, holy crap, that doesn't have a driver. So it turns out it's like a driverless car that goes around and you can ride it. I want DTF to get to that point in the next couple of years where sure, you still have to do maintenance and all that stuff, but like the quirky things that happen sometimes where, the print head just doesn't land on the capping station for no reason whatsoever, and then you turn it off, and then you turn it on again, and then it now lines up, things like that. Or maybe if you have like a speck of dust or a little bit of ink that goes onto the encoder strip, the strip that tracks where the carriage is, and then all of a sudden, all of your print head bidirectional printing is off, and you can't figure out why, or just like the quality of the materials that they use. I recently had to change the whole ink line on my Audley, on my red and white Audley, which is like the Model T of DTF printing. It's like the old ones, So I recently had to replace that ink line, and it was so clunky to do it, just because, all of the ink tubes are connected to each other, and then it goes through this little like rectangular tunnel that you can't take apart whatever that little piece is that you have to remove. So I have to remove the whole thing. So if we can get, and it's getting to the point where like even with the Chinese printers, they all have these like access panels now, so it's easier. I'm pretty sure with the Mamaki it's even like better, but yeah, if it can get to the point where we don't have to worry about, not worry too much about like all the quirky things that happen just because, that would be like the perfect setup in the next few years.
I would say probably that program where your customer sends you that artwork and it's pixelated, where you could just upload it and it's just perfect. That would probably be my ideal, because that's where you just think, and they don't understand, when you say high def, they think, but I saved it from Google. That's not gonna cut it. That's probably, because obviously I think my printer's the best, so I really don't see any upgrades on it right now, so artwork. So if anyone has a solution or knows it's out there, contact me.
Oh, goodness. I don't know. I mean, it's really hard, what would make it easier. We do have a Mamaki, not a DTF printer, but it's a banner printer. And the only reason I haven't switched to the new DTF, Mamakis is because we run foreheads until they come out with the forehead. So I think, I love our Mamaki UCG, whatever it is, 300, because it's literally maintenance free. I mean, it cleans itself, it turns itself off. We come in, we print. We've had it it was a year in September. So I think if the DTF printers could, to get to that level where they actually do self cleaning, where they actually, do turn on during the weekend or the whatever, and kind of do their own maintenance, that would be good. Because I have employees, and trying to get them, at the end of the day to we clean that off, we make sure it's clean. It's not always easy. So.
Well, you go for it. Well, I'm going to add something to that with the printer, the F2270. Like I said, I spend 3 minutes a week on the maintenance of it. And I did walk away, whenever the Epson brought it out to my house and set it up, I left for about 3 weeks to go on vacation, turned it off, come back in 3 weeks, and had a perfect nozzle check.
Yeah, I've never taken a vacation more than 4 days just because I'm afraid. I'm just afraid. You too? Yeah.
Maybe that's what you want in the next couple of years.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Longer than 4 days.
Like a 2-week vacation.
Yeah. Goals. We'll manifest that for you, Jerald. What are your customers saying about DTF? Especially with Jerald, you started out with screen printing right away. Do they notice a difference? Are you communicating that with them? If so, how are you communicating that with them?
Well, a big part of our customer service is education, because there are a lot of people coming in with, ideas about direct-to-film, and for sure, direct-to-film has a different hand feel over screen printing, and some people are very particular about that, but for most people, they don't really care. And there are things that you can do to, make that hand feel better. More negative space, half tones, line tones, things like that. This one is line tone, by the way. So I line tone that way I could just make it feel softer. But yeah, it's in terms of accessibility, my customers love them because they can have like an order for say graduation, right? There's like 30 kids in the class, and each one has to have a different photo and a different name. So they all have the same background, they all have the same school, but it's a different photo and all that stuff. And we can do that for them, right? And that's the beauty of DTF and DTG, is you can customize it. Or even if they say, I need 500 of these, and you print 500 for them, and then they're like, the next day they're like, oh, by the way, I need 2 more. And you're like, no problem, we can do that. I can have that for you in the next 2 hours or whatever, right? In screen printing, that's a little bit harder to do. I mean, you can do it, but that's a little bit harder just because of all the, artwork that needs to be done, all the screens that need to be done per face or per number or whatever, per customization. So that's one reason why they love it. Another thing that the customers love about DTF is you can start your t-shirt business in the extra bedroom upstairs, for example, with just $150 for a heat press, which is what we started with, $150 heat press and maybe a couple more dollars for shirts, right? And then you can just keep on, rolling that money, keep on putting it back in, and you keep growing. And they see the potential of that. And I think that it's, the greatest thing for me about DTF is that it's very, very empowering for people that want to go the independent route, but they don't have the money to just say, I'm going to do this right now. Because if you can start your own shirt or apparel business for, say, $300 or $500 and just keep on rolling it and just do it in your house without extra expenses, that's a good way to start something. Because if you go into something just because you feel like, I want to start a custom t-shirt business. I'm going to put $50,000 on this. That's a very scary thing to do, especially if you don't have any network, you don't have any customers yet, you don't know if it's going to fly. But here with DTF, if you have the $150 heat press and you have the $8 for the transfers and you have the $3 for the shirt or $6 for the shirt, then you're golden, you can start.
Again, I'm on the finished end product, so my customers who call in ordering shirts, or I've got school contracts as well, they're going to be wearing the shirt. So they're more about the feel, the touchy-feely, and a lot of my customers are women. I rarely ever print on a Gildan shirt. I don't even know if I have one in my shop. They're Next Level District, Bella Canvas, Cotton Heritage. So I don't, not knocking DTF, I think there's a place for it. I have it on my shirt, but I have it on my shirt on a left front chest or a small. I'm not big on putting a big DTF transfer on the front of a shirt, especially if I have access to my DTG printer. If you can get past the pre-treating issues or buy pre-treated shirts, I'd rather just run my DTG right down the front of it and versus doing a DTF where it's plasticky or shiny. But again, I'm on the finished end product line of it, so I think if I was on the other end, it could be a little different, but my customers are a little more pickier because of something, they're wearing that shirt. They're not selling them other than, my school contracts.
Well, our customers, they already know, that we're, selling transfers, so I didn't start with customers prior to selling transfers, but we have just over the last few years, it's just grown so much, and a lot. We sell all over the United States, but our local business, it's funny that when you start and you think, well, everybody in Tulsa knows that I'm selling transfers, and then you're here and somebody's like, well, I'm in Broken Arrow. I didn't know you were even there. So, but my customers, we continually try to improve everything that we do, and like he said, you take out the black, you halftone or the color of the shirt or whatever, and trying to teach our customers that as well, to show them, hey, it doesn't have to be one big giant, blob on your shirt, it can, you can make it softer and feel a lot better. So, and we've tested lots of products and powders and inks and, try to get the thinnest and the, smoothest, softest, stretchiest transfer. So.
Can I add a question?
Yeah, of course, yeah.
So, knowing DTG and DTF, and you're running DTG for the shirts because of the hand and the touch, is there a quantity limit to you wanting to put on and doing the DTG for 50, 100, 150, where DTF or a screen print transfer, per se, would be a more feasible choice with a heat press? Are you still running a large quantity?
Good question. If it's a large quantity and it's under 3 colors, it's going to be screen printed. That's just the way to go. The cost, the time, it's just a no-brainer. But when you get into 4 or 5 colors, more complex image, I would definitely DTG it. And unless, there is those certain graphics that just probably need to be DTF. But I probably would just DTG it. If you're talking about 150 shirts, more than 4 colors, I think DTG would be the way to go.
Interesting. Thank you.
Question for her. How many DTG printers do you have?
I have 1.
Yeah, does anyone, Denise, Jerald, just thoughts on screen printing versus DTF versus DTG, how you're making that decision and kind of the overall conversation about that? I think a lot of people are, saying, oh, screen printing will go away. I personally don't believe screen printing will ever go away, but, we're here at a DTF show. I'm just curious your thoughts.
Well, I feel like it complements. I mean, it puts, like, we print for screen print companies that don't, they have the smaller orders. We have a screen printer across the street from me, and they walk over and pick up orders. And so I think it just goes hand in hand. So it allows them to take on those smaller orders or orders that they would normally turn away because, they didn't want to, burn all the screens or, so forth, or if they have to add on or something. But I don't see it replacing screen printing totally. I think they can complement each other and be in the same, room.
Jerald, do you want to jump on that? Kim, you can go to anything else.
I kind of pretty much already touched it. If I have a 1 color, and a lot of my schools do 1 color just because it's PTA and they need it, it's a fundraiser, I order transfers, screen print transfers at 7 seconds. You can't beat that. I use 613. They're here. But if you have 1, 2 color and 7 seconds, that's actually the fastest, easiest money you can make. But again, when I get into 3 and 4 colors and larger runs, I do use a contract screen printer.
And I agree with that. Each of those different processes have their own place. And I know that there are like some screen printing purists and then DTF purists, and they're contradicting each other. But, we have to look at this as, if screen printing is for a different target market, not necessarily customer, but for a different type of order. Whereas DTF can be more, effective for a certain type of order. Like they said, if you're doing a full color job, and if it's a full color job, regardless of whether it's high or low volume, I would go with either DTG or DTF. If it's a low, if it has a low number of colors and a high volume, the best way to go with it is screen printing. Now, if you have the budget and the following, for example, somebody like the YouTube artist 1000, he can sell a shirt for hundreds of dollars, and he can do 9, 10, 12 color prints on screen printing. If you can do that, go for it. But for the most part, for most of us, it's just not realistic in terms of the cost and how much we'll be able to, sell it for, and how many people are going to buy it if it's a 10 color design that's screen printed. So for that, I would go to either DTF or DTG. So, is it going to replace screen printing? Absolutely not. There's always going to be a place for that, and nothing's going to beat the hand feel of screen printing. But again, just for economics and practicality, I think if you're a screen printer, and I say this on TikTok a lot, if you're a screen printer, you're closing your doors if you're not using DTF, because if there's this person that's coming in for 5 shirts, and you're saying, you know what, we don't do that here, and they're, let's say, it turns out that they're really, really gifted in marketing, right? They start off with the 5 shirts, and then 6 months from now, they're actually needing like 500 shirts of the same design. So by closing that door, because you're not using DTF or DTG, you've lost that customer for life.
It's really good feedback. And you just brought up TikTok, so I do want to ask this question because you've invested a lot of time in social media and you've gone viral on TikTok, Jerald. What are your tips for shop owners who want to expand to new customers on social platforms?
I think, well, what we have done in the past is, because I read this book called Building a Story Brand, where, you read that? Where the whole idea, the whole story that you're painting on social media is, there's this hero and they go on a journey and this is their end result, right? So happy ending. But you're not the hero, right? Your customer, your target customer is the hero and you're the guide. And your product, that's the bridge that's going to bring them from where they are to where they want to be, right? So that's always been what we've done. And lately, my friend Ray, like last night, he told me that that's kind of shifted a little bit. I was like, yeah, it has shifted a little bit. Just because right now we're moving to a shop and I haven't had time to really think about like our content. So all we're doing is just putting a camera to our face and just like record it, and then we'll figure something out later on. So it's, it's kind of shifting towards the focus of the content right now is going into what's happening with us and how we're growing and all that, but we need to shift that back into storytelling, where I'm saying, you know what, this is happening for us, but this can happen for you as well, because that's what we have been doing. And like I said, most of our customers are coming from our social media funnel, and that's been our strategy ever since.
Kim, Denise, how are you using social media to grow your business and connect with new customers?
Well, I'll be honest, I suck at it. I forget to even take pictures of my finished products sometimes. I'm trying to get better, but honestly, I do have a Facebook group it's like a VIP Paisley Joe Designs for like my main customers that we post. I try to post occasionally. I just forget. But again, I do a lot of school contracts. And, I like doing the fun T-shirts. The neighbor down the street needs a birthday shirt, or because some of those little shirt orders you don't know if they're involved with PTA or a church group, or you don't know what their background is. And that person, if they like what they get, they're going to say, hey, I had a girl just make me a shirt with rhinestones, glitter, whatever it is that I did for them. You just don't know what they're involved in. And that's really how I've gotten my business. I do not advertise, but I promise I will get better at it.
I'm kind of like Kim. I do promote some, videos. It's pretty much the same. My printer's printing, We have a Facebook, I don't have a Facebook group, but I have a Facebook, business page. So we do, post a lot of things like that, like what's going on at the shop, or, hey, we have this new stuff in, or, hey, we're running a 15% off discount. I did just hire an ad agency because the whole social media is really confusing to me. I'm not going to lie, So, yeah, listen to Jerald, because it's too much. The way our company grew is maybe a little bit of social media in the DTF groups, possibly, in the beginning, word of mouth. It's really what it's been about, so.
And if you are looking to learn more about social media, Sergio Ramirez spoke yesterday about how to grow your DTF business with social media. And just a reminder, all of these sessions will be on the DTF Printing YouTube page, so you can watch them again. So if you missed Sergio's social media talk, or you want to watch this talk again, you're able to do that. Before I open it up to questions, is there anything else that you guys would like to share about your DTF journey, or anything that you would like, the tips for those in the audience?
I mean, for me, I'm very, very new to doing business. We're only like maybe 3 years in. And so it's a continuous learning process, and it's not always going to be nice and pretty. I know that on social media, for the most part, what you're seeing is me doing the TikTok dance. No, I'm kidding. 99% of the time, I don't do that. But like, you know, you see the fun stuff, you see the engaging stuff, but there, you know, behind the scenes, like when you see me replacing a print head on social media and it's all like fun and all that, in real life, it's not gonna be fun, right? I mean, that's a $1,200 piece that you're replacing. It's not fun, and it's stressful if you only have like 1 or 2 printers and you have to get orders out that day, and that, you know, that printer that's down is going to cause delays and all that. So I guess what I'm trying to say is that the journey is going to be rough, and there's going to be a lot of education and frustration and all that stuff that you're going to have to do. But it's definitely an exciting and, you know, a fruitful adventure if you're willing to go through it. I mean, I'm just saying this from, you know, from the lens of somebody that, you know, that has gone through it and is, you know, still going through it, because as much as, you know, as good as we're doing with the business, there's still like a whole bunch of stuff that needs to get done. Systematizing, automating things, getting people, training people, putting those systems on paper. So these are all things that you have to figure out. And one very important thing I think that you need to understand also is you don't have to have all of these pieces put together. Because when we started, the reason why we started DTF printing for other people was we have this printer, we're making t-shirts, we're printing for about half a day, right? And then there's the rest of the day where the printer's not making any money for us. So we were like, oh, let's sell transfers. I think I saw DTF Superstars at that point. I don't know if you're familiar with them. They're in California. I saw them doing that. They were the first people that were selling DTF transfers on TikTok. And I was like, you know what, that's a great idea. Let's try and do that. And, you know, I started doing that, and you know how it is when you're like new to something. So I point the camera at myself and I'm like, you know? So it's very awkward and it's very uncomfortable, but you get comfortable with it. And it's the same thing with every single aspect of DTF printing. You're not comfortable messing with your printer, you're gonna have to get comfortable with it. You're not comfortable with creating a website. If you have money for it, well and good. If not, there are templates on Shopify, and you're just gonna have to figure out how to modify it, you know? So when you start doing, if you decide to start doing DTF, or, you know, you just started and you're like, there's so much that I need to do. Yes, that's true, but not all of it needs to get done right now, right? The most important thing that you have to focus on is, I'm here today, how do I get here tomorrow, and then here the day after, and then just make sure that you're not crashing and burning.
I would say I was more scared about the maintenance of the DTF, DTG printer. There's a lot of bad and horror stories out there about my DTG printer, my, you know, print heads clogging. I was very scared when Epson brought my printer out. But honestly, within a week or two, I was like, oh, this is a breeze. My only advice is, when you do go out and you look for that printer that's for you, make sure who you're buying it through is going to support you.
Yes.
That is huge, your support after you purchase, because you are going to have questions. Thank goodness, you know, obviously Epson gave me my printer, so I do have the Epson guys in my back pocket. But I've had so many people reach out to me since I've had this printer, say, can you help me? Because who they purchased it through is not giving them any support. Sure. And it's a paperweight in their shop.
I think what's different today than what it was in the beginning is there's so many resources that you have now. You know, there's so much, training that DTFprinting.com is doing, and DTF Superstore, and so just do a lot of research and go to those classes or watch them on the videos. There is a lot to it, but it doesn't. And today, it doesn't have to be so overwhelming. And have a backup. Like, if you're going to get a printer, either, have somebody on the side that can take over printing, because I'm going to tell you, it's the most stressful when your printer goes down and you have orders sitting there. So just have a backup of, okay, I know so-and-so's over there, I can send these orders to there, or, another print, have two printers. I mean, it's just what it is, because there's all, anything can happen. So just have a backup and do some research and learn, do all those learning classes and stuff.
Yeah, fantastic feedback. Want to open it up to questions? Does anyone have, yes? Go ahead.
Actually, I have two questions. You guys touched, you were saying that the majority of your customers, like 80% of them, come from online. How are you maintaining that relationship with those customers online? Because our situation is opposite. We do all local, none online. So it's easy to maintain those relationships. I see them all the time. I know Teresa.
Right.
How do you do that?
That's a great question. So we have a customer service team made up of 3 people, and I've trained them so that, like I said, we're more of an education relationship building customer service team, and my customers have access to me personally. Like if they text me, they can text me and then I'll reply to them. So is it easier to do that, for the local customers? Definitely. Now that we have local customers coming in as well, it's easier to maintain that relationship. But if you're doing it over the internet, over social media, you have to make sure that you're always, they're seeing you on social media. Like, for example, you have your favorite creators, right? And those favorite creators, when you see their YouTube video, for example, you already feel connected to them and you already feel familiar, with them. And so that's what we're trying to establish with our social media as well. And I think that's, those are the 2 main ways that we're doing that, is just by staying relevant on social media and having a customer service team that's there for them as soon as they need it during work hours.
Somebody else want to answer that? I have a second question.
Okay.
My second question is you guys had mentioned that you still do DTG, DTF, and a little bit of screen printing, outsourcing or whatnot. How do you maintain a consistent price point across that? Because that costs you different money all the way through. And for us, I guess in easy math, you could always take your most expensive cost and make that your base point, and then everything is a higher margin after that. But how do you guys do it? Because that's our problem, is when you offer different products, is they're all different prices. To do a 3-color screen printing setup is going to cost more than a full color 1 t-shirt DTF, at least for my customers.
So whenever my customer calls me and says, I need a 4-color shirt, so they send me the artwork, that's the first thing I ask for is, let me see your artwork. Do you have your artwork? Because they may not be counting that white or that black that's sitting in there. So whenever I see the artwork, I'll go at that point and say, okay, this is what the cost is going to be if we screen print this, or if we're going to DTG this, because the cost is different. Yes, most definitely, and this is the most efficient. Now this is for the best product. The different price points.
Yeah, go ahead.
We came down here, we're from British Columbia, Canada, and we're a custom embroidering house, and we just took delivery of our new Mamaki 150 3 weeks ago. And we've been working with it, and we're going back now into a region that, DTF means nothing to anybody. And so we're kind of, we were searching last night in the happy hour. It's a good place to search for things. Of like a couple of buzzwords, that maybe you guys that have been in it, that, if you put, we now do DTF, well, to the average person, that means absolutely nothing.
Or it might mean the wrong thing.
Right, yeah. So have you found is that, because we're in screen printing territory, and we are going to be going after the transfer business and that, because nobody has a machine up in our area where we're doing that. Have you guys found, when you're trying to talk to somebody, is there a couple of buzzwords other than DTF that you use of new technology?
Well, earlier on, a few people renamed it. They had, what was it? DigiPrints. I know that's a guy in Michigan. That's just what he calls his, is DigiPrints. So they just came out with their own name. What was the other one? there was another, they've just made up their own terms for it instead of calling it, and we just call it DTF or direct to film. But, they've made up their own words for, the transfers, dream transfers. That was another one that was, that came out that people were calling them. And then people would start asking, do you carry dream transfers, So, I don't know, do y'all have any?
That's probably not my.
Well, like for me, the way that I got my local customers is through the Facebook Marketplace. And what I typed there when I posted it is DTF transfers. So I was targeting specific people, and these were the people that already knew what DTF transfers were, right? But if you're in a place where nobody's doing it and they're not familiar with it, I think that's a great thing. Because if nobody's doing it there, then you've just pretty much cornered the market, right? But your challenge now is the education part, right? So what I would do there, like wherever I go, I wear my, of course, my DTF transfer T-shirt, so that if somebody asks me about what's DTF, it's this thing right here, and then they feel it. And the shirts that I have, I always use like half toning or line toning. Just because it makes it feel better. So the ones that I use to represent DTF transfers, these are the ones with a lot of negative space, so that when they want to feel it, they're going to see that it's not as as bad as some of the things that I hear on the internet. I mean, there is that there are those thick transfers. A friend of mine came to visit one time, and he had a DTF transfer shirt on, and it was like probably 5 inches thick, something. But it was like super thick. And I was like, okay, so this is what people are worried about. So, but yeah, like in your shop, I would recommend like having a bunch of sample shirts with your designs on them, so that people can come in and just interact with the DTF transfer, and just start talking to people around you about we're doing this whole new digital printing technology for shirts, that if you want one shirt, if you want your son's picture on the shirt, I can do that, and so you get one customer, and then that one customer is going to tell other people, and then they're going to tell other people, because as long as you have like a good quality output, and you're the only one in the market there, people are going to come to you.
Like in your DTF journey, what would you guys say would be like the most significant breakthrough you had? Was it like a new piece of equipment or a switching product? Do you have any like thing that sticks out?
I think one of the things that I think is very, very important and has been a turning point for us is just finding the right supplies, like the right size powder, the right film for you, and and if you can find that at the right price point, then that's like golden. Another thing I think, figuring out in terms of the marketing side, figuring out who you're trying to sell to, and have that specific couple of people in mind. Like you can say, I've got, I'm going to sell the screen printer mic. Screen printer mic is a 30, and I'm talking about this guy right here from Burning Pallets podcast. But he's a 30-year veteran in screen printing, and he's very passionate about design and screen printing. But how can I help him understand? Because being in that market for a very long time, he's going to be personally very invested emotionally on screen printing, right? So how do I get him to understand, for example, that yes, screen printing is still the best thing in garment embellishment, but you're leaving out a lot of money because you're not using this, and most people are okay with this. So something like that, and then you're gonna have another person here, like the Cricut mom, for example. So your second target person is the Cricut mom that has been doing Cricut in their house for a year, which I'm saying Cricut mom, but I'm that Cricut mom. I've done that for a year. And they're tired of weeding and doing all that stuff and being able to make like 5 shirts an hour, and orders are coming in. They have to make 100 shirts, 150 shirts a day, and they're doing the weeding and all that stuff for all those shirts. So how do you target them? So once we figured out that, okay, so that is the key to how we can make our customer base bigger is not by selling to everyone and saying, you get a DTF and you get a DTF, you know, just specifically targeting a couple of people, because that one Cricut mom represents hundreds of thousands of people. And that one screen printer mic represents hundreds of thousands of people. And even if, you know, even if you don't get all of those 100,000 people, you get 1% of that, that's not gonna be bad, you know, you're gonna be okay.
I should, since he called me out here. So I met Jerald on TikTok. I had my screen printer mic thing going on. And I called him and I told him, dude, I'm going to break this technology, meaning that I'm an R&D guy, 10 years for a major label. So any technology, I'm going to break it. I'm going to see where the edge is. But like many screen printers, like our Canadian friend here, if you're going into this journey, I ran a 6-auto shop, and if someone come in 3 dozen, if my customer service didn't send them down the road, then we had a problem, because they were, you know, setting us up to lose money on an auto shop where it takes $100 an hour to keep one of my autos, you know, fed, right? And you can't get that with 3 dozen orders. And my breakthrough moment after breaking, you know, send me your stuff, dude. And I just, he sent me a bunch of samples. And so when I found out, like, hey, this is pretty good, yes, he's right. I was like, I'm a screen printer, this feels like a transfer. No, but quickly, the millennials that work for me, they're like, this is badass, we love this, you know? And it was just that moment when I was like, they don't care. They don't care. So my first order was 8 color left chest, 9 color back, full of gradients off of Canva. It was terrible art. I ended up having to redo the art, but I charged this woman like $15 a shirt, and she did not bat an eye. And I wanted her, honestly, just to say, oh, that's too much, and walk out. Then she came back for like 18 more. So that's the day that I said, okay, we got something going. Then I started doing trucker hats for my existing customers. Had like 20, 30 cents in each trucker hats. Started doing neck labels. So once I caught on to this technology, then I started educating my screen printer, you know, people on my channel, doing collaborations. If you get on social media, the trick is collaborate. Shout out Jerald, he shouts out me. It doesn't matter if he gets 40,000 views and I only got 5 on the video that he duets. That's a personal thing we have on there. But find a way to fit it into your business. And don't invest in the equipment. I was going to buy it. You know, it would have taken a lot for me to say, okay, I'm going to do what he's doing, right? Because I didn't want to hire someone, didn't want to nursemaid it, but I wanted it at my fingertips so I could say yes. And you're looking for a buzzword, that's the buzzword, yes. I need 8 color front, 6 color back. Yes, I can do that. That's your buzzword.
Thanks, Mike. Yeah. Do you want to join the panel? Jay?
You brought up Canva and artwork.
Yeah.
How do you 3 handle customers who bring you licensed graphics that you know you should not print?
I absolutely will not print it, especially when the kind of eyes kind of turned towards me when I got that beta printer. People are watching. You don't know who's pissed off at you or not. And it's so easy to turn someone in to print copyright infringement. For instance, Super Bowl, I had so many people. I want a Chiefs shirt. Absolutely not. I'll sell you a red shirt. I ain't gonna put, I could put Chiefs on there, just a cute little font, but I will not do it. Or Grinch, anything, it will not happen.
Stay away from Disney.
Yeah, stay away from anything that's not yours.
Yeah.
It seems like there are more and more people making transfers and selling transfers. So do you guys see any pricing pressure with regards to what you're selling over time?
We are already at a wholesale pricing. So I haven't really, I mean, yes, the market is getting saturated with printers, absolutely. But I think for me, I'm not threatened by it. I mean, I have the experience behind me. We have really great customer service. I don't feel like my customers are going to go looking elsewhere if I take care of them. So as long as I'm taking care of my customers and doing everything I can to, our turnaround times within 24 hours, sometimes same day, a lot of times same day. We say 1 to 3 business days, but it's going to be, but we have not been affected by the pricing. We've already at, low.
I just recently lowered my prices because I'm in the Houston area, and there's so many DTF printers that in the last few months just popped up in the Houston area, and prices are going down. And I was at $8, but the standard there now is $6. So I could have stayed at $8 and I would have still kept my customers. But then my question was, how would I grow? With 2 more printers coming in, how would I be able to feed those printers at that price point? Because we can talk about better quality, better, and all that stuff, better everything. But at the end of the day, a lot of the, not a lot of them, but there are customers out there that we want to reach that are very price conscious. So we brought it down to $6, which is now, that's the standard in the Houston area. So yes, we have been affected by it, but we're making up for that profit loss with the new customers that are coming in, and my old customers are very, very happy with me right now. So it's a win-win, I think, still.
Just as a follow-up to that, you had said that only 20% of your customers are local, but yet you're kind of pricing your product for the other 80% based upon Houston local pricing. So I'm trying to square that.
Well, if you look at, that's a great point. I was making Houston an example because there's a lot of printers showing up there, but it's becoming like that for most of the country as well. So the prices are going down. I've seen some people that are selling for like $250 lower per square foot, and I'm like, okay, do I want to go that low? Because there is a price war happening right now, and so DTF is becoming commoditized. So my decision to go with $6 was, I need to lower my prices so I can reach more people, but I'm not going to be the lowest, priced person, because if I'm the lowest priced person, somebody's going to go lower than that. So yeah, great question. I guess I was a little bit confusing there. Yeah, I was looking at the Houston area, but all over the United States, the transfer prices are going down as well.
Do you see it as a race to the bottom?
Yes, so it's starting to become that, and I hope that stops because nobody wins with that. And if we end up, the customer does for sure. But see, if people are making 25 cents per foot on the transfer, and your printer is able to do 40 feet per hour, right? So that would be like what, $10 profit per hour, something like that. So if we get to that point where it's like the prices are super low, we're gonna end up with just the biggest companies doing all the DTFs for everyone. Because the small shops, people like us, we're not gonna be able to keep up with that. So, and then.
Yeah, I was going to say we can take one more question before our next session.
You were part of the wide format world a while ago. So about 10, 15 years ago in wide format, the big thing was banner printing. And banner printing, same exact thing happened, race to the bottom. Everybody started getting a printer, everybody started pricing $3 a square, $2.50 a square, $2 a square. 5 years later, what happened? Take a look at wide format printing now. Not everybody does it anymore. It's just the bigger companies that survived. So it's repeat. History repeats. You guys are able to race to the bottom, and in 2 or 3 years, you're not going to be able to survive. You're not going to be able to float your rent. You're not going to be able to do anything. You're going to shut down, and the guys that can survive and have the cash flow are the people who are going to survive. It's a death trap.
And Stephen Farrig brought that up yesterday. He kind of compared DTF Expo to VideoCon, which like 13 years ago, there were 1,100 people, and then just last year, 33,000 or something. And he said, look around, like, don't you want to be in the room 13 years from now where it is 33,000 of us in a room? And I think that's a really good point. You want to stick around. You want to be here. At least I think you do. So, yeah.
Sublimation is also going through that same
Yeah.
transformation.
Yeah. Okay. Well,
But he's
yes.
right. So how do you prevent that is don't have all your eggs in that single basket.
For sure.
Create a model that works for you where you're not competing against it across the air. Find a niche.
Right.
Either find a niche or be ready to spend a lot of money and grow fast and continue to grow fast and then pad that bank account because there's going to be a hard 2 years while everybody else starts shutting down and you're going to continue to be in the red for those 2 years. And if you continue to have the cash flow floated, you'll survive 3 years. Everybody else is gone and you now can ramp up your pricing and continue to operate.
Great. Well, I'm glad this turned into more of a discussion. This is awesome. Thank you all so much, Jerald, Kim, Denise. This was
Thank you.
fantastic. If you want to hear more from them, please listen to their episodes of the DTF Printing Podcast. You can scan the QR code. They're on all podcast platforms and our YouTube.